Hello and welcome to Live Coding Happy Hour. We are not looping, are we? Do we have an audio loop? I hope not. All right.
I don't hear anything.
All right. Fantastic. My name is Dave Slusher. I'm joined by my colleagues Andrew Barnes and Chuck Tomasi, and we are going to return to the scene of the crime a couple, was it months ago or weeks ago? It's hard to tell time, but Andrew showed his update set management app, and we got into that, and we're going to kind of discuss things he can do with that and where he can take it and do. We're going to pick a task and do it, and it might even be improv. We can look at the chat and see if you're willing to take suggestions, we can do it that way.
Yeah.
So I always like that. It proves the non-premeditated nature of
the liveliness. I mean, we can take votes. I've got a backlog. I've clearly not done all these things.
This is not canned stuff because we'll take your suggestion. So let us go around the horn and introduce ourselves. Let's start with you, Chuck.
Hi, my name is Chuck Tomasi. I'm Senior TPMM at ServiceNow. Been here for about 8 years, just over 8 years. Customer for a couple of years before that. About 35 years of IT experience in one way, shape, or form or another. And I love building custom applications and integrations, especially on venues like this.
All right. Andrew?
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Andrew Barnes. I am a service management architect at Novant Health, which is a client of ServiceNow's, and I've been doing service management in ServiceNow for about 4 years now, and really excited to be on the show and work on this update set tracker.
And I am Dave Slusher. I am a developer advocate in platform for ServiceNow. We are getting really close, like a couple months from my 5-year anniversary, which is kind of feels big. It's weird that the time at ServiceNow simultaneously seems like forever and no time at all.
We do a lot in a short amount of time, don't we?
It feels like I've been here 20 years, and it feels like I've been here 3 days, simultaneously. So developer.servicenow.com. If you do not have a developer instance, then you are missing out. You could be playing with London features right now. So developer.servicenow.com. I'm going to guess most of our audience knows about it, but also some fraction of people may be driving by. We have not reintroduced the show in a long time. So the one-sentence elevator pitch, this is Live Coding Happy Hour, where some of us get together. We build something on the fly. We specifically do not pick bogus demo code. We only work on projects that we care about. And practically every project we've ever built is something we built because we want to use it and will make our lives better. So this is not like, this is not Hello World stuff we're doing here. It's real stuff. And we drink beer while we do it. And speaking of drinking beer, Chuck, what are you drinking?
I just wanted to add to that intro that, hopefully you can take some of the things we talk about and go, hey, OAuth on YouTube, I can use that, and apply those to your daily job. All right.
Yeah, I personally use it as a reference where I go back and say, I did that thing. I don't remember what I did. Bloop, scrub until I see it on the screen. So every time I hear that someone does that, like I couldn't remember how to do OAuth and I went back to the video, that makes me so happy.
The next step that we need to do that somebody suggested on the community live stream that's been very helpful is we could have a GitHub of the code we share so people don't have to scrub and type and read. We can share what we built. Whether it works or not, you still get some code. We could just dump that in there at the end of the show. But that's some post-production stuff that I'm going to leave for another time. I am drinking the Sierra Nevada Kolsch German-style ale today from Sierra Nevada.
All right, Andrew, what do you have?
All right. And I am drinking the UFO Abracadabra, which is a hilarious name.
There was a parody Red Hot Chili Pepper song called, I think, Abracadabra, California, or something like that. It's the funniest thing I've ever heard. All right, I'm drinking Folded Mountains Pale Ale. Not even opened, so I'm going to get to that. So, all right, Andrew, if you want to, do you want to share the screen, or you want to talk about the backlog first before we share the screen?
Yeah, I can go ahead and share, and then we'll talk about the backlog because we can do that on the screen.
All right, and let us. I don't have a copy. I don't have a copy of the chat open, so let me open that so that I can.
I've got YouTube open if you want to watch Twitch.
I will watch Twitch, and we'll see if we get. And And again, Twitch, you're getting the love. We'll make sure that if there are any Twitch questions, we'll address them. So we'll throw this open to the floor. We'll kick it amongst ourselves, and we'll also let the various chat rooms vote for things that we want to do as a next step. So what you're saying, Andrew, is all these things will happen. The question is, what do we do today?
Yes. So I'll have to describe some of these because they're descriptions for me and not for other people. So the first thing, so this is my Todoist list that I just threw together out of our backlog from our team and feedback. So we've got, so let me describe the app just real quick, which is managing update sets. So the creation of update sets from stories, Scrum tasks, etc., to your dev instance from your prod instance, then making sure to batch those update sets together automatically for that same task. So create 5 update sets for the same story. Those get batched together automatically. And visibility of the tracking of the movement of those things between instances, as well as being able to build releases and batch all of the stories for that release together and deploy those as one to production. So that's what the update set build tracker does. And that's the goal and intent of it, is to manage our update sets and give visibility in production at the task that I'm working on to where the status of that task is as relates to update sets. So we've got some UI things. So there's a couple of places where I've got 2 new buttons. So the one on story is fine, but some other places where we have the tracker related list, we've got the global new button poking in, and we need to get rid of that. Configurable name convention. So when I'm creating an update set for you right now, I'm just grabbing the story number. And instead, I want to be able to give the developers, especially as we share this outside of Novant, the ability to use their naming convention. So, whether you want sprint or release, sprint, story, however you want to configure the names of your update sets, have that auto-populate for you. Moving of update sets. So one of the features I've gotten from the outside of my company is the ability to move the update sets from the tracker itself. So in production on my story, I'm actually done with that, that update set. Go ahead and complete it and retrieve it into our test instance. So that's what that move one is. Mm-hmm. The collision for multi-edits. So that's what we ended up stopping at last time, which was, I think it was in February at this point, was detecting that you are editing something that has a different version that is also not yet in production, that's not for the same story you're on. So this one's a little tricky, and it's going to be fun when we get to it. But that's where we left off last time. Okay. So one of the things we ran into as we were using this is I only accounted for adding things to a release because I only add update sets into the release batch. I don't do a full sync. And so one of the things we'll need to do is remove update sets from them if they're no longer required in that release. So do that full synchronization as opposed to just additions. Mm-hmm. And then a full sync, which is refresh all of my update sets from all of my instances in case something went wonky and I need to hit the big red fix everything button as far as the status goes of the tracking.
Okay. That's a lot of syncing.
Depending on which ones we pick, we can probably accomplish more than one of these. And if we pick this one, who knows if we'll actually succeed.
Okay, so I'll throw my vote in. I might actually want to do the UI things because solely because that's a thing that we haven't done. We've done a lot of integration-y things, and we had a real flow designer stint, but we haven't necessarily done a lot of UI stuff in the last 6 to 12 months.
Sure.
So that's
and the next thing on my backlog that I haven't even put in here yet, that I'm not ready to prepare to do today because I need to brush up on some UI things, is I want to visualize the tracking much better. So the visualization I want to go for is actually like this. So I want to visualize it just like the task planning board in the Agile 2.0, which has the stories and their Scrum tasks in lanes next to them. And I want to do the same thing. I want to have my target records, my tasks, which will most likely be stories, but they're not restricted to it. And then dev, test, prod for the update sets here.
interesting.
So that's something I would like to visualize. Is that?
Okay.
Yeah. This is a 5-minute fix.
Why don't we just start with that, and then let's do that. And then while we're doing that, we'll let the chat room weigh in, and if there's anything somebody particularly wants to see from all the rest of the options. How about that? That'll give people a few minutes.
And
to
let's just call them number, 1 through 6, and put in your number.
Vote for your favorites now.
Vote for your favorite.
All right, get a quick gander at this because it's going to go off the screen here in a second.
Yeah, I'll leave it up for another second then.
All right.
All right. Let's slide that over. And let's just visually go take a look at what the tracker looks like. So I've got 3 instances here. So I've got dev all the way here on the left. I've got test next to that. And then this other window is what I'm calling my production instance. So I'm going to make the production instance big. And down here, so I'm on a story record. And down here, I've got my update set tracker related list, in which I have tested already once to verify things are working, the creation of an update set, and moved it through all the instances and watched it update here.
Andrew, can you zoom in on that a bit?
Absolutely. Let's go one more.
There you go.
All right. So the first thing that we said to target was the new button. So let's go do that. So on story, it works fine. So this one is already suppressing the global one. I don't know how or why, but it is because I forgot. I don't remember things. So this is the one I would like to have because it does things for me. And I've got it set to override a new button, so that's probably what's doing it. So let's go grab that sysid because there's 4 global new.
Couldn't you set the action name to sysverb insert and it would override it that way? I haven't figured out what the overrides does that the action name doesn't.
That's a good call. We could try that.
Before that field came along, I would call it sysverb insert, and then your conditions would say, I want this button to show up on this form. And oh, hey, there's already sysverb insert. Get out of the way. I haven't quite figured out the overrides yet because every time I try to use it in that same way, it hasn't worked for me. But maybe that's something we need to discuss at some other point.
I think I tried to solve this, and I ran into that while trying to use that method, but let's give it a whirl. So you see here, we've got one of these is the global and one is the one I actually want. So I think this one is the one I want. No. So that's the global one. And this is the one that actually opens up my modal. So that's the one I would like to have. So let's go configure our UI actions. And if we drill into this record, I clicked the wrong button. There we go. So let's get. So I clearly have an override in here, and it's not doing what I want.
That's the same thing that I expected it to do, but it doesn't.
Let's see if it's a different one. So we'll tell it to choose the one we want because I've got a sysid. How about this one?
That's pretty sneaky.
And let's go see how it went. Release.
got two of them.
Oh, womp, womp, womp. All right. Well, let's try it the other way because if it's working on the one and not working on this one, I'm not sure why. Because
I haven't found a whole lot of documentation on that overrides field either.
So that's a little sad.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go and
Oh, you're right there.
I know, but
okay.
I don't do things off memory.
Okay.
I'm going to go get the action name straight from one of the global ones.
Fair enough.
Because that makes it so that I don't fail as often.
Oh, it's sysverb under new. Interesting. I would have put money that was sysverb under insert. Let's find out. Do you want to clear the overrides field?
Yeah, I could do that. Because who knows how they interact between each other.
All right. Or if somebody comes along later and goes, I don't know, I just copied yours.
And let's give it a whirl. Hey, it's only one. Let's see if it's the right one.
There you go.
It is the right one. Look at that. So yeah, I would like to see some more documentation on that override and why it doesn't work for me sometimes, because it does work sometimes. But it probably had. The only thing I can think of is that I need to override a different new one, but both of these were related lists, so
right.
It should have been the same.
I haven't gotten it to work on any out-of-box overrides, and that field doesn't even have a hover over. So, poop on the people who came up with that. No documentation.
So let's go validate that we didn't break our existing working one, which is the most important one, which is the one on stories. Yay, it's not broken. Hey, you know what we get to do now?
Pick again. Oh, we get to mark one completed.
We hit a checkbox.
20 minutes in, we're successful. Take a drink.
Take a drink.
It's all the secret of happiness is expectation management.
All right.
Aim
so
low,
I think
you'll never be disappointed.
All right.
So easy configuration win is the naming convention, because it's starting to irritate me.
Okay.
And I'd like to solve that.
Let's knock that out, and then we can pick one of the. So those that's really ones. Yeah, that's the last of the kind of really fast ones, right? The rest of them, all of them are relatively involved, if I remember.
So I've got this properties page that is where I would like to store what I want to do. So this is where eventually I'm going to put what I want. So if we go back to, excuse me, tracker. Well, in fact, it's on the UI action, I believe. Let's go see. I think the building of that is actually here. And it is. I think, right? Where is it? Get my modal. Update set tracker. Where am I setting the name? And tried. I'm definitely setting a name. Where is it? Somebody help me out. Somebody be smarter. I'm too close to the
setting the
create
story set add param.
UDev name down on line 17.
It's create story set right here.
Right.
Ref name,
and that calls the function down there,
which is the number.
Yep.
Where am I using ref name down here? Here it is.
Line 17.
UDev name equals 12. Ref name.
Yep.
So that's the spot we need to target. So what we want to do is get more values of the things that we're going to get. So we need to do some property lookups. A property lookup, get what you want, break that up into multiple fields, get those values, and then pass them in. Does that sound about right?
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good to me.
So right now I'm just getting one, and I could hard code it to get, the ones I want in my system. So I could do get sprint, get short description, and then, build the thing. But I want to make it a little configurable, so that, if a different team has got a different format, they could do it based off properties. So the first thing we're going to do, let's stub it out here. So we're going to get a property. Then we need to break up property, and then get values. And then we need to build ref name with that. So build more. All right. So the first thing we need to get some properties. What is it? gs dot gets. Gosh, I can't remember. What's the function? Get a property.
gs dot get property.
Yeah. Nope. I don't think that's capital.
It is. It is.
Yeah,
You've already started typing, so the autocomplete isn't going to. In order to get autocomplete going, you'd have to go back past the dot and try it again. It's gs.get property.
All right. And so we need to probably go create a property.
But you'll lose your place in the UI action. Oh, you did. Nice.
So let's go find what we called these. So that we can find them and update, use the same naming format. All right. Name. So we're going to do, instead of username, we're going to say update format. And this is the update set naming format. And we're going to say, comma, separate fields to pull from. And we'll put number, comma, and short description.
Do you want a space in there?
Between them?
Yeah. Are you going to trim? Are you going to watch for that? How much effort do you want to put into it? Do you want to just do a straight split, or do you want to do more?
All right. So if we insert that, do a nice little cache flush. All right. Now we come over here and we say, get this one, please, sir. And let's, put that into something. Name format. All right. So we got our name format, and now we need to break that up. Let's make the system not angry at us. So we want to name format. Oh, anyway, we just split it.
Yep.
And I need to send split comma.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stick that into like a var list or var
stick that
fields.
Into another. Yep. So let's name list. And then now we need to get the values that I want. So we need to iterate over those and get the values for each one that I want. So 4. Oh, what's the there it is. I haven't done a for loop in ServiceNow scripting in a hot second. Yeah. And
we were just saying at Tuesday's developer meetup in Calgary, that needs to be one of our syntax editor macros.
And it is.
We do. We have a for tab. Just
yeah, that's what I just used.
oh, it is okay.
Yeah, there is one. It's just for and tab.
I keep thinking of more and more use cases to use that rather than text expander.
All right. So for all of those in there, we're going to do this line. And what we want to do is actually just append it, right? So I want to build ref name, and I want to get the values of the items and just build upon each one. So I can say
this is where get value comes in handy. Are you still doing this in a, just double checking, you're doing this in a client-side function? Okay. Then you can't use gs.getProperty, my friend.
We are in.
You are. You have client-side, and you're still in your on-click function, tracker function.
We are.
So do you know the trick to get around that?
No, sure. Let's have it.
You could use a display business rule and push it with G Scratchpad.
Push it to the scratch pad. That's true.
And then theoretically, that should be available in your client-side function. We may want to do a quick and dirty test of that. I haven't used it in this context before. I've used it on load and on change client scripts, but I've not used it in a client-side UI action.
The other thing is I could just push it out. No, we'll keep it in the client-side part. That's irritating.
What is the value of doing this computation in the client-side part? Are you populating the default file name or the default update setting?
Yeah. So what?
And then allowing them to change it afterwards anyway.
That is what we're doing. Is I just want to populate their format there, so that if they don't want to edit it, they don't have to. They can just hit go. I don't know that I want to spend time pursuing that.
I mean, it wouldn't
make me sad.
It wouldn't take a whole lot to verify this.
So, is there a way to do? The dynamic value that calls like a script include? This is not a thing I've ever done or even really thought about. Like if you say that this is a dynamic value, or can you say that this is a default value that is a calculated value?
I could I could do it on the property at the default value of the field. The field, actually.
That might be faster.
Yeah. So, because then I can do what you say, Dave, which is, just do it with a script include. Or straight do it right in the JavaScript.
It's the default value, so it's going to come down that way, but it would still be editable and.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I kind of like that idea.
That seems cleaner.
Yeah. All right. Let's go do that.
That is this is the thing, I think, particularly if you're early on in your ServiceNow development, doing scripting like that and not realizing whether you're in the client or server side is extremely common newbie confusion, right? Because the mental model hasn't really solidified about, one of the upsides of ServiceNow is that a lot of this stuff is simple, and you have basically like the same way of creating both kinds of logic. But the downside of that is you can be confused about where you're writing the logic. I have certainly done this. You're like, why don't I have GS? And you realize, oh, I am not on the server side.
I'm not on the server side. So my only hesitation there is if the format, so it's going to be the same hesitation I'm going to have in general with this being super configurable, is since the tracker can be related to any task, I need to make sure any of the fields I use are only task-based fields and not from any extended table, or it'll be angry sometimes, which is fine. I don't think we need to worry too much about it, but it certainly popped up in my head when I was like, oh, the UI action can be configurable per, I can have a different UI action for different task types if I need. Since it's a related list UI action and is relative to the list I'm on, the form I'm on, but the default is going to be, everywhere. I could do an override. Well,
could do an override, or your script could be made.
It's not helpful because it.
You could make it a little more intelligent later and just say, start looking at, is this field on task or not? There are methods to determine what field a field belongs to. Now,
my first thought is, can I actually do what I want to do with default value from a modal from the related record? I'm not sure I can.
Possibly not.
Do something simple. Just stick a value in there. See what happens. Put in 1, 2, 3.
Oh, I can put a value in there. That's not the problem, Chuck. What I'm saying is I want to get the fields from the story into the modal for the update set. And I don't think I'm going to have access to that data from this default value.
Can that default value be JavaScript :
yes.
whatever that syntax is?
Yes.
Sure. But even that may not have access to what I need.
Is it
because it's not on this? It's not on the tracker
I see what
record.
So this thing will be related. This is a related thing.
It is related.
You're saying, how do we get the parent record of what has invoked this? How can we get the record that we are related to?
Yes. And, the values from that record. Because once I leave
not simple dot walking?
Can I dot walk a default value for a record that has not yet been... So I'm concerned about the ordering. The default value for the name is going to be populated at the same time as the value for the parent record that maintains my relationship.
So what we can do a really quick test, right?
Yeah.
If we just why don't we do like JavaScript? And again, I don't remember I always have to look up the format because I can never remember exactly the syntax. The JavaScript : then the functionality.
JavaScript : and then whatever I want.
Current. How about just current
current.parent.number or whatever.
Parent. Something very, very simple field of that. And let's just see if it actually populates it.
Yeah. So I need UTask parent.
Okay.
Yeah, because something off that parent, like the UTask parent dot number. Yeah.
Because when you create, I'm thinking real simple. When you create an incident task from incident and you pop up a new form, the incident is already filled in. It knows who the parent is. So this should work because UTask parent will have a value at this point.
Okay. Well, let's give it a whirl.
Yeah. This is why we test the simple case first.
So I went with short description because my new button is going to put something in unless I tell it not to. So let's just not save you. Bye. And we need to go to a story. Let's close some things. Scrum. Release. Let's go to a story. Hello, story. Scroll down, hit new. What do we get? We get number. But I explicitly stated that in the UI action, so let's go tell it not to do that part.
Okay.
Then try it again. And you're just going to get set to nothing. Yeah, we'll give you nothing. No, I don't want it to clear out at all, actually.
Yeah,
because it'll override the default.
Yes.
Let's just get rid of that. And we might as well nuke that. Well, now that I'm not using it, it doesn't matter what's there. Name equal. It's not a used variable, but you know, let's not rewrite the world.
Sure.
And I'm not in a regular. Ooh. Nothing.
See,
That
I thought it
means-
would because task parent is known at this point.
Yeah, but I don't know that I can reference task parent as current yet.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's available to my dictionary
Yeah.
on load time.
I wonder, is there an order dependency of the resolution of this thing? Because we're dot walking that thing, but if that task parent hasn't been set, it's not there.
Right.
So it kind of depends what order it's looking the variables up in.
Yeah. Is this variable populated first or this one?
Right. I'm wondering if you hit submit right now, if it sets that at save time as the default value.
Let's see.
Update set name.
That looks like it does.
Okay.
But it's not. So
That's a partial
partial, but
credit.
it's not.
It doesn't allow them to change it until after they save it, which isn't real helpful.
Yeah, it's kind of ugly,
Which
but
isn't real helpful.
but so what it says is that it's theoretically possible. But what we're not. But
But on load, it doesn't populate it.
Right.
It
That's what you're looking for.
it happens at save time, and I want to unload so that they can edit it if they need, and just verify that they don't need to edit it.
This level of complexity is why I generally stay away from modals. That's the honest truth. It's just, they're not simple.
A modal is really the best thing for this interaction here.
How so? I mean, what's the advantage of that versus using the standard new button and coming up with a new form? Or just doing list.
Because I don't want to lose my context.
Okay.
That's why a modal is advantageous to me here, is because I want to stay on this record, and this is the record I care about. This one is a pop in, pop out interaction to me, and so a modal fits that scenario the best because it just pops in, I hit save, and it goes away.
I'm okay, but it's still, to me, it's still functionally the same thing. If I use the standard new button, I pop into a form, I hit submit, and it brings me back to this form with related list. It's just taking the full frame instead of a subframe. It's the same number of keystrokes, and you're not able to see or do anything to the story at this point when the modal pops up. So I'm trying to figure out what the advantage is for the cost of complexity.
And I'm not sure that the complexity is actually causing us issues either. I think if I use the new button regular, I'd still pull open a form that looks just like this.
But
and it still wouldn't be populated there. Using the method we're using.
Correct. You're right. In that case, you would use like an onload client script, and you could use a before business rule.
Yeah, why don't we do why don't we consider that an experiment that way, doing the display business rule, because really all that business rule has to do is pull that one property, stick it in the scratch pad like Chuck said.
Stick it in the scratch pad, yeah.
And then we do the same thing, but we do it in that onload script. So, I mean, it's
where my customization meter starts hitting the red line, and I'm like, this is a lot of complexity that we're still going to have to build, maintain, and test, and God knows what happens later on. The more we can stick with the standard, UI actions and the standard business rules and the standard stuff, the easy stuff to build with, the easier it is to maintain later. That's just sort of my rule of thumb. If we have to sacrifice a modal to make it work, but anyway.
So my thought process when I was doing that is that the regular new button isn't what I want here. It's what I want is more like the create change UI action from an incident. So I'm already moved away from new because of the interaction that I need and the data I need to transfer from the record I'm on to the record I want to go to. I'm already moved past the out of the box new button. So modal, not modal isn't that big of a deal at that stage. Because the complexity I'm adding for real there is the data transference, not the whether or not it's a modal.
Sure. Okay.
Get property for update set names. All right. So I'm going to display.
Like always, we're having a really good discussion about a lot of options.
There are so many options and so many paths to take. So all I need to do here is get property, and then I need to know what the property name is, which maybe I kept that around somewhere. No? Okay, that's fine.
And you did clear out the default value on the dictionary entry. Is that what I saw?
I don't believe I did.
Okay.
Well, we're going to have to get to that. Let's see. No, I don't see it. It's not jumping out at me. I guess we'll go. All right. I can tell this is not my instance because things aren't sorted by updated.
They are now.
Everything's sorted by, like, if you go to my user preference in one of my instances, most of my user preferences are set the list to update, order, sort.
DB
I need a
sort,
global property
updated.
for that.
DB, yeah.
All right. So I need to push this into the Scratchpad, and I have no idea what the syntax is for that.
G-Scratchpad dot whatever. Property name, G-Scratchpad dot order dot whatever you want to call it. G underscore Scratchpad is a globally available object.
Yeah, it's just a JSON container, basically.
And then I name
it
variable whatever I want. Update format.
Yep.
Because that would be consistent.
There you go. It's an empty box to which you can throw anything you want in.
So that is really all I need to do is push that into the Scratchpad so that I can retrieve it, and that's it. I mean,
and you have when to run is display.
Display.
That's yep, perfect.
It's on the right table. Looks good enough.
Okay.
The funny thing is, I have talked about this and, like, in presentations, mentioned this more than I have ever.
When's the last
actually
time
used
you did it?
I've done it. I'm not sure if I've ever actually done it in like a code that I have really pushed to solve my own problem, even though, like, we in the best practices thing we talk about it. And
I use it quite regularly.
I understand, Dave. I really do. All right,
now you want an unload
now we're
client
back
script
to our UI action.
Okay, and this is your UI action. You could probably just disable this and go with the standard new button.
I still need to.
You want to try it from the global? Just see if we get if the Scratchpad is available here.
No.
No.
So from the global one, this is my custom one.
Right. We had one question here. Is Scratchpad available in the UI action client side function? The other option is,
gosh, I hope so.
Don't use your custom one, but use the standard new button with an onload client script to pre-populate that field.
Now that is an option. I don't think I can do that because I won't have the data. So a new button.
Well, you would if you populate it into the Scratchpad. You could put the entire update set name default value into the Scratchpad, not just the property. do the whole
Yeah,
processing in that business rule. Say,
I would have to push the record I'm on as well. That's the thing I'm concerned with is this.
Yeah, but the business rule has all that stuff, right?
the display business rule is running before the new record is created.
Yeah, so it can populate this. I'm just saying this is the main reason why I have this UI custom UI action is for populating data into my new record.
Right. But the standard new button is going to do the parent for you anyway, because that's your connection, that's your relation on the related list, right?
Not my custom parent record. No.
Why not?
It doesn't know what field that is.
That's the point of a related list, though. Again, going back to a simple incident task, if I relate that via the parent field and say, configure related list where incident arrow
via the correct parent field,
then it knows that value. It pre-populates that value. That's the related part, because we don't want you to screw up a simple relationship by not having a value there and go, can you imagine filling out a related list and every time you said new, you had to say, well, this record's also related to, oh wait, what was that?
That is a really good point. I like it.
It takes on the parent default value if that's your related list field.
And that is my related list field, is the task parent
you'll see field. That in the related list.
Yeah, it's right there.
Right there, task parent. So you don't need to populate that field. It's already going to happen. Well, if you had a new button.
if only I had a new button. I must be suppressing that some other way.
I was thinking Peter, Paul, and Mary. I had a button. I'd press it in the morning. I'd press it in the evening.
All right, let's take a look at the release one, because we did the override for the release one by the sysverb. So
don't you wish you could right click on that and set
it?
What? How did that not set it? It has to set it.
Oh, because this is a different related list. That's why.
Okay. And what is that related list connected to? I'm
going to go back and fix story real quick.
Okay.
Because I'm concerned why I don't have that. When did I update one of those bad boys? That must have been... Who did it? Who done it?
I'm out of beer.
Not me. So why isn't it showing up if I haven't suppressed it explicitly on the global? I didn't think I had touched the global, but it's clear.
No, it doesn't look like you didn't. No.
So why isn't it showing up? Oh, I probably did a list control.
Maybe.
That's what I did. I did a list control.
What did you do to the list control?
Omit new button.
Oh, okay. That'll do it.
That'll do it.
Well, on many-to-manys, that's often a common case, too.
Hey, look at that.
Look at that. Okay, so it's automatically populating
I'll allow it. And now that it's automatically populating that, I wonder if the default will work now.
Maybe.
I wonder if the runtime is different on a full load. Let's give it a whirl.
That's what I'm curious about.
Let us try it.
Let us try it.
We're exploring new concepts every day.
I thought we might get to one of the complicated ones today. Oh, silly me.
You know how this show goes. The simple stuff it's the simple stuff that takes the longest.
Actually, no, I don't have versions on this guy. All right. I need the name of the field.
You task parent?
Yeah. That's what I thought it was, but I don't want to fail because of that.
Got a number? You just want to throw that in there as an example case? So it's either going to be the default value here, or we're going to have to get it in our onload client script. I think this is going to do the same thing we did before. Yeah, I think the default value is still going to do the same thing we did before, but let's find out.
Yeah.
It won't be saved until it's saved.
Go.
But, no.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's do it on an onload client script. That's fine.
That seems kind of backwards because a default value for a choice list comes up with the default value when you select a new form. It comes up with the choice list as that default value. I don't know where we're going wrong on that concept.
I think it's coming up with it. It just doesn't have it. So I think it's running. It just doesn't have access to that variable yet. So it's running, it's trying, and it's setting it to blank because that's all it got back.
Is it because it's a dot walk thing rather than an explicit value?
That's what I believe.
Okay.
It doesn't yet have access to current .utest parent.
Gotcha. There is some spooky stuff with reference fields. What happens before you save and after you save, and what's available? That gets really kind of crazy.
All right, so
just
you're
for
going to
fun,
do a onload, set default name, global, blah blah blah.
Just for fun, do a gform set value of your Scratchpad property value. It won't be a real nice name, but it'll be something to say. Yes, I can pass this through the.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can pass it.
Yeah.
All right, so G.
Oh wait, you need the field value first.
I need the. Oh yes, I do. Field value is going to be name, and it's u_name because we're custom and not scoped.
And then G _scratchpad.
There we go. G _scratchpad.
Whatever you call that.
Goodness.
This is where naming schemes come in handy.
Updates
kids.
format.
Okay. And it should say number, comma, short description when we load this form.
All right. Let's do it. And we'll load a story. We'll hit new.
Bada boom, bada bing. Oh, come on. What?
Why are you unhappy with me?
Nope.
You don't even
Step
want to
one, do you have an error in your console?
That's what he just checked.
That's what I was trying to go for, and I don't see an error in my console. Let's give it a reload. No error.
I love that form on the left.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem to want to be adjustable.
It looks like it's it's
the new Slusher thing for mobile, etc. And which is separate from this one.
So what happened? What happened to our scratch pad? The business rule is on this table, right?
I would say let's go back to your client script for 1 second.
Yeah. And
do update format and just like concatenate an XYZ or something. Let's see, is our client script running and not getting scratchpad, or is it not running?
Good plan. I like that version of debugging.
Just to figure out, because it can be tough, because we're debugging like the full flow and we don't even know what part of the flow is not happening.
No cookies.
No, nothing.
No, nothing.
See, I would have expected that we would get.
Nope.
It's called update set
we're
name.
Just bad. It's not
dev name. It's not even the same as the label.
See, the one time I try and do something from memory, and be like Chuck.
Don't be like me.
Don't be like Chuck. Don't try and remember things, because I'll be wrong every time, like clockwork. Hey, look at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Magical.
Okay, we can pass things through the scratch pad as default values. Works like a champ. Very easy to build, very easy to maintain.
All right, so now let's just get that value.
I just thought of a T-shirt we should make. Dick writes jelly code. Dick doesn't test his code. Don't be a dick.
Oh. All right. We'll allow it.
Now you can go nuts with the server code too. I mean, you could split and create the whole default value in the business rule.
Right, and you could just put it in the scratch pad.
Pass the default name through the scratch pad.
Through the scratch pad.
Yeah,
That's true.
I like writing
that.
most of my
That's
code on
way
the server. You have access to a whole bunch of other good stuff.
Let's do it. I approve of that amendment. All right, we're
it's
just
a lot
going
easier
to
to debug too because you get the debugger.
And all hail the debugger. For it is great and it is good. All right, let's go.
Unless you're debugging an async REST API.
Hey, we're not gonna trash it. It's way better than nothing.
Oh, it's way better than nothing.
So whenever I'm debugging the async, that is not sorted by updated.
Welcome to Guided Tour Designer.
Oh, so whenever I'm debugging an asynchronous thing, I'll just plop it into I'll plop it into something that's synchronous to debug it.
That is literally why I build everything in script includes, right? Because you just call it from script's background synchronously.
And bam.
Yeah. You debug it with the script debugger, and then when you verify that the thing is working, you call that script include from the async code.
Yep.
So we're gonna send
when you have a thing that's asynchronous, the act of making it asynchronous is usually my very last step, right?
That's a good point.
Name format. So we're getting our name format, and now name format not split. Comma it. Come on. And name list. All right. So we've got the variable names we care about. So this is the display rules. So we're going to be able to get them directly from current dot. What do I want to do? I want to loop through these guys and build my output.
Okay.
So var
output equals empty.
Yeah, var output name equals quotes. And now we want to output name plus equals to the let's grab named list.
Current dot get value name list by.
Current.
No, it's not current. It's current dot utask.
Current dot
current
guy. I would do a current dot get value.
Yeah, get value of that.
You know what?
Yeah, no. Tell me.
You're not getting the current value because the current value is on the update set tracker table.
No. Yes.
You want the parent. The values you want are on the parent record.
Current dot parent,
which throws the get value thing into.
Yeah, current dot parent dot get value, right?
Current dot u task.
Just
parent. You parent task.
Yeah, we can get just you parent.
Can you do a get value on a dot walk?
You can, but I prefer not to. I prefer to go ahead and make that its own blimey record. That's a lot of overhead, though.
It's 3 lines.
No, I meant just overhead to the system to do that.
It's server side, though. We don't care.
Oh.
I mean, it shouldn't be.
So someone doesn't run in a slow instance.
But is there any difference in? So you're saying set a value that would be like var parent equals current u parent task. Wouldn't that even be more efficient than referencing it each time?
record.
You know, you might have a point there, Dave, because a dot walk does an implicit get.
Right. I think you're actually reducing the amount of work that's being done by doing it this way.
Yeah, it really depends on how the underlying platform is architected with caching and, oh, I've dot walked this thing in a loop. I better not get it again and again and again. But
do you have to do that, or can you do a current dot? Can you just do a current dot u parent? I mean, do you have to do all that? Isn't current u parent task the actual glide record?
You don't have to.
Oh no,
it's a reference to it. It's a sys-ID.
Yeah, you're right.
He's getting the whole record from that sys-ID.
Okay.
Put that line back.
I think it.
Now you would do a parent dot get value.
Yeah. Man, I really should check to see if that's actually there, but it's fine. It's close enough. It's good enough for government work. All right.
Well, if it's not there, then something else screwed up. Because we already verified that field is filled in by default.
That's true. So all of the cases of these are definitely dependent on being related to something. All right. So instantiate a new glide record, get the record, loop through these guys, get the value of...
It does somehow feel like flying without a net, though.
And yeah, so that's actually this is what I wanted to do, and I'm actually just going to redo it because that's how I prefer to do this. So we're gonna do it. Parent is get ref record.
That's a method I use way too little.
This is I was racking my brain. How do I remember how to do that? And Jared flashed up over on the side screen there, and I was like, I love get ref record. It's my favorite. So this actually instantiates the current or the actual task type it is. Whereas I was going to go with generic with task. This will actually be the correct glide object.
The beauty here is you don't have to know what that is. It just gives it to you.
Yep.
Right. So that's the beauty of that is it knows what type it is and go ahead and do that.
And if you still wanted to do a check, you could still do an if not parent to do your error checking. But we're going to be trustworthy at this point.
Yeah. We might build in some tolerance later. And I'm going to put a little separator in.
You know you're going to get that separator at the end.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
You don't want to do it. You don't want to collect it in an array and join them.
Oh, sure.
Talked them into it. Come on, put on your big boy pants.
we can do it here.
Yeah, you got stuff sitting there at the end waiting. You could just say stuff equals output name dot join. Just turn output name into an array.
All right. And then we want to put roughly like that, and join returns the object, right? So
it returns a string.
Edit in place. So we need a new one.
Just save our stuff there because you.
Yeah. I was looking at what my reference was.
Yeah. But change your plus equals thing to a dot. Dot push.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. Dot push.
Balance those. Change line 4 to an array.
Okay. That was close. It had the right brackets, just not in the right order.
Apple II logo.
One finger's faster than the other today. All right. So let's just review what we're doing. We're getting the property. We're chopping it up.
Yep.
We're creating an array. We're getting our parent record. We are looping through the number of things in my array. We're getting the value of the fields from that array. And then we're going to stuff those into the stuff variable, and we're going to send stuff to the scratch pad.
That's a beautiful thing. Hope it works.
Yeah, I hope it works because I think
We're out of time.
We are at time. So
We are at time. So
we'll give it one shake, and we will either succeed or fail.
let's go make it work. We can just reload this one. Hey,
We got
look,
the dash.
got a dash.
We know something's working. The client script's happy.
Our join worked.
The join worked, but it didn't ever get in the loop. There might be something wrong with their parent.
Did parent
Check the system logs real quick just to see if something blew up.
Yeah.
mlog. And I'm not seeing anything catastrophic. Those all just ran.
Yeah, there's
filter out the table cleaner source.
Goodbye. No, not show matching. Exactly the opposite of what I wanted. Thanks. Hey, what are we synchronizing?
Something wasn't happy.
That's at midnight you're looking at.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So, you got to go by create it again. Load row failure, null pointer exception. That's us.
That's us.
Somewhere we have a bad pointer. Parent is either empty.
I'm guessing this thing doesn't exist right then.
I'm guessing UTask parent isn't working for us right now.
On display, it doesn't exist. Because it's not there yet. So I think we will have to go to the client for getting that. Oh, well.
All right. Well, tell you what. Let us put a pin in it at this point.
Yep.
So,
don't get to check a box. I'm so sad.
that is a bummer. Sorry there, brother. Sorry. All right. Oh, let's see. I got captivated with that and forgot to look at the server here. Okay. So, so we, so really at this point, we fall back to the client-side script, get that working. Again, it kind of falls in that pattern of this looked like a 10-minute job. Turns out to not have been a 10-minute job. Can be highly unpredictable sometimes. But
if it wasn't for that get property, it would have been a 10-minute solution.
Right. You had to make it configurable, didn't you?
I had to make it configurable.
I think this is the classic case of hoist on your own petard. If you had just hard-coded it and slapdash something together, it'd have been done. But there you go. So, or the other aphorism is no good deed goes unpunished. So, all right. So we'll leave it there. We're not saying that you have to not work on it, but that's where we'll leave this episode. If you want to work on it in your off time, we can pick this up at some point. So now at this point, if you think about the stack, we've got 3 projects: the Todoist and the Dev Meetup and the Update Set Manager. All 3 of us have a project, and at this point, we're all pretty much ready to go at any time. So we may just go round robin from here.
I may be actually finishing up the Todoist project. I believe it's done. I have to go through one round of full regression testing. But there were some really, really interesting concepts I'd love to share with the viewers if we have 10 minutes at the end of one of them. Things like using after rules instead of async business rules. So you get a previous and a current, and then trigger an event to run whatever needs to be run async, because you can't do that in scoped apps. It's little tricks like that. I figured out a real use case for the name value field that we came up with in Jakarta. I'm like, yay, I can use it for something I really want to use it for.
I'm actually great with that plan. We're doing a production meeting on the air, but I'm good with if you want to do the next show, we can do a review of that, and you can kind of show everything you did, and then we'll just carry forward with the Dev Meetup from that, and I'll see if we can get Todd to join next time.
Very cool.
Sounds great.
All right. Sounds good. Before we go,
around the
Folded
horn.
Mountain, found in Folded Mountain Pale Ale. I feel like I've rated this before. I'm probably not going to be consistent. I'm gonna give it a 3.75. Solid, not spectacular.
All right,
Andrew?
I'm going to rate the Sierra Nevada Kolsch as a 3.75 also. It was a nice full-bodied beer. I don't know if I'm in a Kolsch mode today. but it certainly lent to the colorful commentary on the show. So I won't beat it down too low, but I won't overrate it either.
Yeah, so the UFO abracadabra, it's just too fruity for me. It's not like super overly fruity, but it's just a little too sweet and fruity for me. So it's a 2.75.
Wow.
People who would like this would really like it. Like, it's well made. I can tell that it's good in its area. That's just not an area for me.
I'll tell you, last night I went to kind of the local craft brew bar and grill, and I had a green zebra, and that one like jumped out. I'd never heard of it. I think it's from Founders, and it was like a really sour goza.
Yeah,
it was delicious. It was. I just more or less picked it at random. I was like, I don't know.
I told you I'd get you on some gozas.
I had no strong feelings about anything. I'm like, I've never had that one. So I kind of picked by novelty. It's like I didn't want a Sweetwater 420 or something I commonly have.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was like, it blindsided me. It was like a 4.5 in Untapped, mainly because of that surprise factor. You know what I mean? I had low expectations way past it. So anyway.
Thing that matters.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, gentlemen. And let us cruise into our weekend in our favorite way possible. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Hey, bye. And
the hardest part is